Good, good evening, everyone. Please, I trust we are all doing well. So we thank God for another month and another day for us to learn something new. And because of our time, we will go straight into today's section. So you can remind somebody, maybe the last time you came here with a friend, please send the person a message that we have started. So last month was very, very interactive. If you were present last month, I hope you learned a thing or a two. And if today is your first time here, you are so welcome. This is Time with the Dietitian, a program organized by the KNUST Wellness Centre with the aim to reach the general public with good nutrition education so as to help us plan our lives well and live a healthy life. So today is another time insightful meeting, and I hope that at the end of the day we will know what to do when it comes to living healthy. So our dietitian for the day is a registered dietitian in the person of Mrs. Efua Owusu Ansah. She has been practicing in Konfanoche for the past decade. So she's well experienced when it comes to healthy eating and everything about dietetics. And she is happily married with a son, sorry, with a son, and she's also a Sunday school teacher. So I hope that today we will really learn something because we are having someone who is really experienced when it comes to the field of nutrition. So I call her Auntie Efua. Auntie Efua, Auntie Efua, please, you are welcome to today's meeting. If you can unmute, we are ready for you.
Thank you so much, Afrakuma, and thank you too for the privilege to present today's program. So, as Afrakuma said, my name is Efua Owusu, and aside being a dietitian in Konfanoche, I'm also the CEO of Efua Health Consult, which is a private diet therapy consult that takes care of all clients who want private services in terms of diet therapy. So today my assignment is very simple. I've been tasked to talk about the myths and truths about nutrition, debunking false fat diets, and other misconceptions about nutrition. And if I'm to ask a question right now, the number of people who know the food that I've just pasted at the bottom right corner, it was the first time I heard about this in Kumasi, that they said it's food for the witches. But most of the time, if it is served at parties, that is the first thing that will be finished before the fufu and the rice come in. So in Fanti, we call it apapransa. And I think Kumasi too, some people call it apapransa, but Fanti, we also call it apregia. So there are many names. This is a very nutrient-dense and high-caloric food, which I know some of you want to eat it hot like this. Okay, so let's proceed. So I'm hoping that by the end of this presentation, I'll be able to give a little idea or information about what myths are and what fats are. I will also be able to show you the myths related to egg consumption, because there are many myths. I can't treat them all within this short period I've been given. So I've selected some of the usual ones that we hear about that bothers a lot on our eating right. So, and I'll talk about the myths on healthy eating. Then I'll end it by talking on myths on weight reduction. Okay, so let's start. What is, and normally I brought in that globe because every country and the myths they have, myths related to many different areas of our lives, but today we are narrowing it down to the nutrition aspect. It's a truthful narrative history by past traditional cultures, and yet is considered false or otherwise. So based on how they were living, they created some truths or otherwise about nutrition. It's the most common term used to describe the traditional stories that have survived the past cultures. And these stories are at the center of every religion and moral system, and even many modern fantasy novel or action movies also base their scripts on myths. It has a cultural identity based on collective human experience. So sometimes the myth that you will hear in Ghana, if you are to move outside Ghana to even Benin or Cote d'Ivoire or Nigeria, it will be a different thing because we all experience our cultural identity differently. And the interpretation that we assign to them are also different. So that's somehow the history or the origin of myth. It also has, as I said, it has a cultural identity and based on human, I should have corrected that, sorry. So now let's delve in on the myths on egg. It says that raw eggs has more nutrients than cooked egg. So there are some nutrients that are well absorbed when heat is applied. So without heat, they will be there, but they will be ill absorbed. And cooking egg will give you that benefit over raw egg. The other aspect that we see with raw egg is the likelihood of being infected with salmonella. So for safety's sake, we encourage a little heat to be applied. That's why with the previous, you look at the egg. I know in Ghana, most of us even boil our eggs about 15 minutes. We go up to 30 minutes to boil our eggs. So ours is super, super well cooked, but elsewhere, they want to break the albumin and see the yolk pouring out, which gives a creamy, milky taste. In all these, they all have their different levels of the nutrients because of the heat that has been applied. So basically, in terms of nutrient-wise and how well the body assimilates it, I would say cooked egg is more nutrient-dense than raw egg. Just that the raw egg, the nutrients in them are lying dormant and they are not well absorbed because no heat has been applied to. Now, the second myth about egg is the dirt on egg that is organic or not so harmful. So the dirt on egg is organic, so not harmful. That's what in fact, I asked a lot of people for these myths. So they believe elsewhere, when you see egg, as we see it in movies and in Google images, the eggs are neat and beautiful. For ours, you buy it and everything, it is stained with the fecal matter of the bird that laid it. So some people think that it's organic. So when you have shavings of that spilling in your food, it doesn't matter. It really matters. Fecal matter is fecal matter, whether it's coming from an organic source or not. So if we are saying that fecal matters are most of the time infested with a lot of toxins and microorganisms that are harmful to our health, the same way we are supposed to clean our, so most of the time in storing eggs, we are asked not to soak them in water or wash them, but some people just use damp towel to just clean it before they store. Some also, before they use it, they wash it, because as soon as you pour water around egg, you start the deterioration or the degradation process. So it is best that before you use it in cooking, you wash it so that you don't stand the chance of having some of the fecal matter spilling into the food. The other myth is, do I need to avoid eggs because I am a patient with diabetes? In fact, the use of egg had been demonized for many years, thinking that it's loaded with a lot of cholesterol, so we are not supposed to eat it, especially our elderly who are diagnosed with all kinds of non-communicable diseases. But we know that even diabetics can eat their egg. In fact, they can eat egg a day. Other literature findings show that they can eat up to 2 eggs a day. But in nutrition, for us not to go stringently by the book, we can see that everything in moderation. Eggs also have their own benefits. They have what they are bringing to the table. So you avoiding it out. It's true, you can get those levels of nutrients in the eggs in other foods, but they might not be all brought together in one as you have it in egg. So even with diabetes, we allow them to take egg. And whenever egg is part of their meal, we require that they add a lot of vegetable parts to the meal. So let's go to the second bit, myth on weight management. So we have our plate with the scale on it. So we are measuring everything that is going into our mouth. The first myth is slimming tea and pills are safe and effective in losing weight. In fact, with most of the teas that we know, they are filled with flavonoids. These are chemicals which are known to have beneficial impacts on the general health of the body. But particularly, green tea has been studied and has been known to help reduce weight. And it's been also shown to help reduce blood cholesterol, even up to 16%. So we know of its benefits. Knowing Ghanaians as I am a Ghanaian, someone hearing this will make green tea their life savior. But let's remember that with everything that I am talking about today, they work in synergy. They don't work on their own. So you taking slimming tea and you are a sedentary person, you don't take enough fiber, please forget it. The benefits will be there. You will get it, but your other lifestyle factors will just slam everything down. So you will think it doesn't work, but it works in connection with the other factors. So we know the slimming teas help. The green tea, sorry. Other teas they propose will suppress appetite and hunger and delay when you eat again. These are well studied and they have been shown to help in connection with the other lifestyle modifications. In terms of the pills, in fact, I'll come to the supplements part. The pills are mostly a combination of these plants that have been used for the tea. So we know some people have been diagnosed with other conditions because they drank green tea, for instance. We've had adverse effects from green tea, someone taking just green tea. So you test it out and see whether you are part of the cohorts who are not allergic to the content of green tea and the other slimming tea. But as I said, don't take that only factor outside the box. Think of all the other factors that are included. Then the other The other myth is about skipping meals. It's about skipping meals. Whether skipping meals will help you lose weight. With this person, maybe the person took one meal out of the 3 meals that are supposed to be taken within the day. Will that help you to reduce weight? A study done by Zeballos and Todd found out that people who missed breakfast increased their caloric intake for lunch. People who missed or skipped their breakfast and lunch increased the caloric intake for their supper. But overall, if you look at the total calories they ate for that day, of course, even if you eat once a day and you increase that calorie content for that very meal, you will still have a reduction compared to you eating breakfast, lunch, supper, unless your menu is well planned. But the other aspect that they found with this is the diet quality of these people were affected. So although the calorie was reduced, the quality of the diet was affected. And one example is, so far as you skip your meal, that means the time that you plan to eat, by that time you'll be very hungry. So you might not have the time to really sit down and plan the meal to be nutrient dense and maybe fiber dense. You just make do with whatever is available. So if you are skipping meals because you want to lose weight, let's think again. Another reason for you not to skip meals is because something basal metabolic rate, and is the energy that the body uses to maintain itself. The energy the body uses to maintain itself. So the heart needs energy to pump, the kidneys, the blood is flowing, many things are happening in the body. That's why even when you breathe out, you feel this heat coming out. So energy is required for the body's normal function. When you skip meals, you reduce this basal metabolic rate. And so the body will not use that much energy because it does not simply trust you to give it what it requires in the next within the next time it needs the calorie. So, and this, we also depend on this basal metabolic rate for weight management, because if you are eating and the body is using a lot without you even doing any activity, then it's a plus for you because it will help to reduce weight. So to sum up this myth, we are saying that although when you skip meals, it can reduce your total calorie intake for the day, you must do it well planned so that we counteract the other factor of diet quality. If it is well planned, like I'm fasting, I know I'll break around 12. I should prepare for my 12 o'clock meal. I shouldn't wait for it to, hey, it's almost time. What is there? Then you prepare gari soakings or you get some tea bread, which under normal circumstances you wouldn't have eaten, but because you are hungry, you just take anything that you lay your hands on. Now, some people also talk about drinking water to at the clinic. You hear some people, oh, me wait in a day, me no ensure power, say ensure Many studies that have been done to associate drinking water and weight management have shown that people who drink a lot of water, in fact, about 1.5 liters in addition to our usual recommended intake, are able to reduce weight. So it won't increase your weight. It should rather reduce your weight if it is water. If there is any water retention in your body, then there is a pathology that is rearing its head, or you've already been put on a medication, you are hypertensive, you are retaining more fluid, so you need to be put on some diuretics for you to release the water. But If you've not been diagnosed of any condition and you are looking forward to reducing your weight, adding a minimum of 1.5 liters to the usual intake of 3 liters a day is known to help reduce your weight and not to add to it. Now, let's move to the next myth. Can you lose weight on a no carbohydrate diet? I know last year and last 2 years, there was a lot of, I would say craze, but many people fell into the culture of ketogenic diet, where they virtually were not eating anything starch. But to categorize something to be carbohydrate, we have different types of carbohydrates. We have the starch, the amylopectin, the amylose. These are all different types of starch. I can get my starch in my kenkey. I can get my carbohydrate in my yam, my plantain. They all have carbohydrate. But I can also, in fact, not that I will also get carbohydrate from my vegetables and my fruits. So if someone says I'm doing no carb diet and I see vegetables on the plate, you are not doing no carb diet. You are rather doing low carb diet. Low instead of no. The body cannot survive very well without carbohydrates. In fact, it can depend on protein and fat for its energy, but this is a costly journey for the body to use these nutrients to manufacture energy for its use. So I always tell clients that carbohydrate is the preferred fuel source, especially for the brain and the heart. So if you are doing no carb diet, you feel drowsy, you feel terrible, then I tell people you have the tertiary level of inketenkete. It's like you are going to faint right now because the body's blood sugar level has gone so low that the brain wants to shut down because there is less sugar or energy for it to work with. So within patients or the cohorts of patients who have been diagnosed with diabetes, this is a fatal level. With no carbohydrates in their diet, you realize that they fall into hypoglycemia, and they can go into coma, and the brain can die, and the heart can stop because sugar in the bloodstream. So please, let's do it. And let me reiterate here that we don't have any bad food. The foods that we call bad, like if we come to the dietitian, we tell you don't take pastries, don't take white bread, don't take this, don't take white rice. It's not that they are bad, because white rice, for instance, if someone has diarrhea and I let the person prepare rice water and for the person to drink the juice or the water from the rice, it will stop the diarrhea. So they all have their benefits. If I'm adding white rice, I've cooked it and I'm adding my vegetables to it, it's a good food compared to me skipping my meal. So there is no bad food, but your major choice as meal intake should be the ones that you know and you've heard us talk about, more of the complex carbohydrates. So you go in for the wheat bread, you go in for the brown rice, or if I don't like the brown rice, I can mix my white rice with some brown rice or white rice with some wheat, so that I'm getting some fiber from my rice that I'm eating, in addition to the vegetables that I'll be adding to that meal. So using a no carb diet, in fact, you will reduce, for the weight reduction, you reduce. And that is a short-term effect because you are compiling other deficiencies that you are not ready to face now. So I won't advise anyone to go for no carb diet. We can reduce your carbohydrate content to the minimum level, but not for you to do without carbohydrate. Okay, So the next myth is certain foods will help you to burn fat. True. Some food items have been known to help burn fat. The first one, which I just mentioned, are fruits and vegetables. And the reason is they give less calorie, especially the vegetables, because a serving of vegetable is giving just 5 grams of carbohydrates compared to 5 calories. 5 calories from one serving of vegetables. So if I'm to include more vegetables in my meal and reducing the main starch sources, by all means, I'll reduce weight with this. The other things that research has also shown to help burn fat are some dietary patterns. Like we've heard of the DASH diet, we've heard of the Mediterranean diet. So at the moment, some studies have even shown that between the DASH diet and the Mediterranean diet, the DASH diet helps to regulate weight and prevent vascular diseases compared to medical patterns or meal patterns have been shown to help reduce weight because of the choices and the things that they include. Let's look at the bottom left corner of our screen. With the Mediterranean diet, exercise is there, and look at the food, even the food environment. This is what we had when when Ghanaians were Ghanaians. We were eating as a family. The children are eating from the same asanka. Somebody will steal somebody's meat and you will shout. Somebody will make a joke whilst you are eating. You will laugh. All that environment has been shown through the Mediterranean diet to help with the body's assimilation even of the nutrients. So it's not just the food that you are eating. And I have also realized that if you are eating, even if I can give you the most healthiest food, and you are eating and you are crying within, you will get the benefits, but it won't be the optimum level compared to you knowing that this is the healthy one and I'm happy and glad that I'm eating it. The body will have different way of using the food that you are eating because of your mindset. The DASH diet basically was developed, it's a dietary approach to stop hypertension. And it was developed using, they realized that when you include a lot of vegetables, you look at the portions that's at the bottom right corner of our screen. Look at the proportion of the fruits and vegetables, and look at the proportion of the cereals and the grains. Then at the base where it's not that clear, we have the lean protein. So the chicken is skinned. We have a lot of fish. We have egg there. We have salmon there. Then we have the legumes and the nuts. So the legumes, the chickpeas, the soya bean, the beans that we know, the groundnut, cashew. In fact, with this DASH diet, they recommend more of the tree nuts than the groundnut. The tree nuts are the cashew nuts, the almonds, the pistachios, the pecans, and the walnuts. That's what they recommend. But let's also be mindful that these should be unsalted. If it is salted, then we are worsening the case with the level of our blood pressure. Then the last column that is there, the last quadrant, I will say, is the low fat, dairy milk, on dairy. Then we have the fats and sweets also there. And Auntie B, please, can I answer your questions after the presentation? I'll bulk all the questions together so that we'll have a meaningful discussion. Thank you. Okay, so it's been shown that the different macro levels macronutrient levels, as I said, look at the nutrients. They've been given in different proportions. Then intermittent fasting and some popular diets help to burn fat. So I've talked about the different macronutrient level compositions. I've talked about some of the popular diets. And before anybody will ask me that question about blood group diets, it's not part of the diets that we recommend. Mostly anything in the hospital, if we are recommending anything, it should be evidence-based. And with the blood group diet, it's more for weight reduction, but it is very restrictive. In the long term, it can lead to micronutrient deficiencies. And I don't think there will be quality of life in relation to nutrition, because it's possible even as your best meal that you've been told that your blood group does not like. So with the blood group diet, we don't endorse it. But very soon, I think in Ghana, we will have this. Elsewhere it is done. You go and do a genetic test and you see that Auntie B, based on this so and so genes, she doesn't like cabbage. That's why when she takes cabbage, she coughs or some reaction comes on her skin. Then you are well informed that this is because of your gene and not because of your blood type. And it is very specific. The other thing that has also been shown to help with burning fat is intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting, there are many variations. I'll mention two here. We have the 8-16-hour period. That is, you eat within 8 hours and you fast for 16 hours out of the 24 hours. The other one too is you eat in every other day. So today I eat, tomorrow I will eat the entire day. You just drink water and go and sleep. You eat today, you don't eat tomorrow. And it has also been shown by research to help burn fat. But this is not for everyone. If you've been diagnosed with diabetes and you are on medication, we can't put you on intermittent fasting. Maybe the worst you can do with intermittent fasting, or the best you can do, is to do the 8-hour period, where maybe someone will start his or her meals around 9 and end it around 5. Which is mostly what some people do, just that you are not consistent and regular with your timing. So in terms of burning fat, it's true, some food items can help. And even vitamin C. That's why some people put lemon juice in water to drink. It's because of the vitamin C. But with that practice, the long-term effect is you getting ulcer or gastritis. So we encourage people, you can add it, you can add the juice as part of your breakfast. Or when you take the juice, you wait about 30 minutes, then you take your breakfast. But we get some people taking the lemon juice in warm water and will not eat the entire day, eat something small in the evening. Of course, you will lose weight, but in the long term, this is not how you want your lifestyle to be. Okay. Okay. So the other fact is all fats are bad. The body needs fat. It's not every fat that is bad. We have different types of fat. We have the monounsaturated, we have the polyunsaturated fats, we have the trans fats. So these fats all have their role in the body in preventing diseases. So if you say that all fats are bad, there are some nutrients in our vegetables and our fruits that we call them fat soluble. We have water soluble and fat soluble. The fat soluble one cannot be well absorbed in the absence of fat and oil in our meal. So you get our elderly who can thinking that you applaud them to say that their food is healthy. But first, fats and oils are palatable. They add some taste to our meal. So if the food does not become so burdensome that that is one thing, then you'll be able to harness all the nutrients that the vegetable part of your meal is offering. But all the fats, no matter how good we know the fat is, all contain the same level of calories or energy. So you can't say that I'm using olive oil so I can pour as much as I want. No, it's the same as you taking margarine or butter. That's the same energy that you are drinking from the olive oil. So if you are someone looking forward to eating healthy or reducing your weight, it is not good to use a lot of oil. In fact, we are encouraged to explore other meal methods of cooking. So there is boiling, there is grilling, there is roasting. So if you are grilling, you can baste a little oil on the meat or whatever you are grilling. And that is an additional oil, but it's not like you frying deeply. Now we have a lot of deep fryers. Some people will fry in their oil all the time. And that is also developing the trans fat level in the oil. No matter the type of oil, if you put it on fire, degradation begins. As soon as heat is applied to any oil, the destruction starts. So if you keep frying in your oil all the time, it becomes a super poisonous oil. That's why buying commercially fried foods, the biscuits, the cookies, and all the things that we are commercially baked and fried are very high in the trans fat. And trans fat, we don't have levels we are supposed to eat. We are supposed to avoid them because they are very dangerous to the heart. That is another type of fat. So it is recommended that with all the oils that we take, we are supposed to not reuse it more than 2 times or the maximum 3 times. So I fry in it today, I pour it aside. The next time if I'm frying, I'll use it. But I even encourage people, stop that attitude of saying that I fried plantain in the oil. So if I use it for my stew, the flavor of the plantain will get into my stew. So I'll pour a new oil. Remember that whatever you fried in that oil, as soon as you pour it out, some of the content of that food goes into the oil that you are storing. So you think you are storing, but there are some chemical reactions going on. And that speeds up the oxidation process, which is very, very dangerous to the heart. We know oxidation is the reason for diabetes, is the reason for some types of cancers. So it is best, no matter how costly our oils are, when you fry, one, we are limiting frying, number of times you are frying. Then the second one is we are trying to reduce the quantity that we use in a meal. Then some people also have the idea fat foods are better options. In fact, it is known that, as I said, fats, no matter the oils or the fats, they all contain the same level of calories or energy. When you use 1 gram of oil or fat, it gives you 9 calories. But if you are to take low fat foods, you are exploring on boiling, grilling, roasting. Of course, if that is helping me to reduce my calorie intake, I will reduce. And a lot of studies have shown that low fat diets help to reduce weight, but not as low as your food is no more palatable. We tell people that don't prepare your stew like the fancy style, how we used to. I say we used to because nowadays fancies, we don't do that. The oil will be boiling on top of the stew, and the stew is just down there. So when they fetch the stew for you, it's half oil, which is a lot of calories. So low fat foods help to reduce weight. Now, the next fact, myth that we are treating will be that supplements help to reduce weight. Is it true or not? It's true that some supplements help to reduce weight, but let's also know that compared to medications that we use, paracetamol or whatever, they are well regulated. So anything that comes to the markets that this is what it's supposed to do, when you look at the leaflet, you'll be able to read the side effects that have been researched into. They have done phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, whatever trials. So they know everything that can come out of that medication. But that is not the case for supplements. Supplements are not well regulated like our medicine. It is true some supplements can help with weight reduction. How can this be? Only when you are having some deficiencies. Let me explain. We have some, the geriatrics, the old people. It's possible that their calcium level or the vitamin D level or any other level, maybe omega-3, it's not at that perfect level in their body. If you give them supplements containing these nutrients, of course, they will feel better because it is helping to balance things in their body. But if you are eating right, you are not sick in the hospital, because apart from geriatrics, those are the ICU, or if someone has been admitted at the hospital for a number of days. In fact, any patient at the hospital who has stayed more than 2 days start having deficiencies in one way or the other. Their protein levels start going down and other nutrients start going down. So if you give them the supplements, of course, it will help them to achieve whatever the reason was in the first place. So it is true, some supplements have been known to help, but they also don't work alone. They work in synergy with the other factors. So myths on how the body generally works. Now we come to, some people say that all calories are the same. So if I'm eating fufu and somebody is drinking Milo, it's the same. At the clinic or as nutrition professionals, we have something we call glycemic index. And it is a calculation that has been made on various food items to see how fast they will be absorbed or they will be changed into sugar after we eating them. So how fast they will be changed into sugar. The rice bran, for instance, when you look on the table, rice bran contains 27 glycemic index, which when you look at the top, low glycemic index is less than 55, medium is 55, 56 to 69, then high is above 70. So any food you see here with the glycemic index above 70, example, watermelon. Watermelon has glycemic index of 72. Then we have baked potatoes. They mean the Irish potatoes, the ones we use for French fries. The glycemic index is 85. Then we have the oatmeal. We all know oats is very good, but look at the glycemic index, it's 87. So that means the glycemic index is high. But with practice, and white bread, the glycemic, in fact, that's the measuring point. The glycemic index is 100. Then the Bagel, those who take Bagel, the white one is 103. We realized that this is not informative enough. So we went on to do something we call glycemic load, because someone can take oatmeal. When I take the amount, the glycemic load will be the oatmeal, which is 87. Then I'll multiply it by how much carbohydrate is in it. I'll divide by 100. If I'm to do that, you realize that someone who is eating high glycemic index food, the load is low because of one, the quantity and the quantity of carbohydrate within that food. So we are not just, okay, so as I mentioned, watermelon as a fruit, having 72, someone will say, hey, watermelon sanity. So you know, if I'm giving you watermelon and I'm giving you within the amount that you are supposed to eat, you won't have that effect because the load will be lower. So, and diabetes or people who want to prevent diabetes, who take a lot of high glycemic index meals, like taking in white bread, for instance, that's their choice. You realize that always the blood sugar will be high. But assuming I'm giving someone a slice or two, I mean the Western slice, not the Ghanaian slice that we break. So if I'm giving that 2 slices and adding vegetables to it, compared to someone who is eating half a loaf or a whole loaf of the white bread, the difference is very clear. So this shows us that not all calories are the same because of these factors, the glycemic index and the glycemic load. Now, the next myth is eating healthy is expensive. We all attest to the fact that it is really expensive. It's true. If you are to go to the market, you want to eat a fresh salad for the entire family. Fresh salad alone can take care of the amount of kenke you can eat for 2 days or a day for the entire house. Because if we say the salad too should be colorful. So if you are eating, you buy carrots, you buy cabbage or lettuce, you buy cucumber, you buy bell pepper. I won't even go there because that one is super expensive. Per kilo and half a kilo is way above. If you are to prepare that as your salad for the entire house, and we are saying that per day, each person should eat not less than 6 servings, you realize that it is really, really expensive. And if we add everything together in eating healthy, you realize that the cost of eating healthy is expensive. But I always tell people that if pardon. Sorry for the brief. So if you think that eating healthy is expensive, then let's eat anyhow and rather wait for the condition to come. Then if you are diabetic and you are buying your medications, if you are hypertensive and you are buying Atacans and all the medications that you know are just helping to manage the condition and not even treating it, you realize that no matter how much you are using to eat healthy now, it is really worth it compared to you eating anyhow, waiting for the condition to come up. So in particular sense, I would say that if you are to compare being diagnosed of a condition and eating healthy to prevent that condition, then we can say that eating healthy is less expensive. Because being diagnosed of a condition, it's not just your money that is going, the time that you'll be spending going for reviews that they will refill your medications for you, and even the side effects of the medications that you are having. Then as the disease progresses, the disability, the quality of life that will be affected. These are all factors that you have to cost, so that when you tell yourself eating healthy is expensive, you can attest to the fact that it is cheaper in the long term. Okay, the next fad is everybody should follow a gluten-free diet. I know those who are health conscious is like, I don't eat white bread, I don't eat bread. It's been a long time. I eat gluten-free. Don't you do gluten-free bread? Don't you eat gluten? It is shown that gluten-free is not for everyone. Some evidence indicates that there are significant drawbacks to following a gluten-free diet. An example is gluten-free processed grain products like breads, cereals, and crackers are often lower in fiber, iron, zinc, and potassium. This is because most of these gluten, and gluten is mainly gotten from wheat, rye, and barley. These are all grains. And with these grains, we know they all have their benefits. We don't take the barley, we take it from the malt that we drink. In fact, the one I know is Guinness malt. It has barley in it. But traditionally, it's more of wheat that we eat in our setting. And it has a lot of gluten. That is the protein in the flour that when you are molding it, it becomes very stretchy. That's the gluten. So, but if you are not eating anything that is flour-based or that has the gluten, remember the wheat comes along with a lot of fiber that is rich in B vitamins, that is rich in these other nutrients that I've mentioned. So if you insist that you don't take gluten, unless you have been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called celiac disease. It's an autoimmune disease where when you take gluten, it destroys within the vessel or the intestines. We have some spiky growth there. We call them microvilli and villi. They are to enhance nutrient absorption. But when you take these gluten, those who are sensitive and have this autoimmune disease, it reduces or it destroys these microvilli. So it prevents or reduces the absorption of nutrients. So such people, when they take anything that has gluten, they will have diarrhea, they will have vomiting, nausea, and all these factors. So if you have not been diagnosed, please don't label yourself to have a gluten-free diet. Once in a while, if I go somewhere, a fancy hotel or restaurant, and they serve me a gluten-free diet, I'll eat. But I won't consciously go out to look for a gluten-free diet when I have not been diagnosed with any celiac disease or irritable bowel syndrome. So this is something concerning this myth. I'll be finishing soon so that I'll answer all your questions. Then you need a detox diet to cleanse your body. This is also a myth that is going on. I'm sorry for if this image is gory, but this is a normal human liver. God, in his own sense, how wise he is, created the body to have what I call reset. It's able to reset itself if we are able to do things as the body wants. How does the body reset? The toxin factory is the liver. That is where all the good and the bad and the godly, the ugly happen. So if we are saying that I'm detoxifying my body, it's more of, am I helping my liver? Because that is the best detoxifier. The liver is the best detoxifying machine in the body. And that is what God has created it to be. If it sees any toxin that will harm the body, it takes it up and deconstructs it. The other thing that we can do to really detoxify ourselves is to drink a lot of water. As you drink a lot of water and you sweat, the skin and the sweat are all, it's the toxins that are coming through the sweat. You get some of them coming out. Drinking a lot of water. Fasting has also been known to help reset the body. Fasting, in addition to drinking a lot of water. So I give this example, like you have this sewage tracts, which is always being used to draw sewage from people's houses. If that sewage tract is never cleansed or washed, you have layers of this sewage hardened in the tract somehow. So if with time you just give the body, okay, I'm giving you a break, I'm not adding anything to you again, I'll use the little that I have that the body does not need. So I won't eat. I'll drink a lot of water. And remember, this is a conscious fasting time. It's not just a Muslim. It's like today I feel like fasting. So if you will fit it within, some people do it on the day they were born. So I am Efua, so Fridays. Somebody is Amma, is Saturdays. Whatever time that will be okay for you, you can just go off. And that also depends on your health condition. If you've not been diagnosed as a diabetic or any condition that you survive on your medication, you can do fasting, drink a lot of water, and the body will reset itself. You don't need any concoction. You don't need any medication, any special food from anywhere. All the body needs is for you to balance the nutrients you are given. Drink a lot of water and sleep. Sleeping also a lot. A lot of things happen when we sleep. There is a lot of resetting of things in our sleep time. So I know in academia, some people barely sleep. In fact, I heard someone this week saying that it's around 1 o'clock that he can, if you send him text message, he can respond around 1 a.m. And research has shown that people who consistently sleep after 11, they are at higher risk of having diabetes, weight issues, heart diseases. So in an academic community that like you have stories of professors and workers who were just working, they came to work, the next day they are gone. It's because of a pile up of all these stresses. So sleeping is part of the detoxification. Don't go for the quick effort of, okay, I'll drink it and it will do the work. Plus all the other factors, you are just closing your eyes on them and you won't think of them because it needs some extra effort from you. So the body can do its own detoxification. Using store-bought natural herbs and spices will help to reduce salt intake. Most of the time, we ask people not to take these monosodium glutamates. That's the cubes and those powders with MSG. But look at something. This is a spice that was given to me as a gift. Let me see whether I can. Let's look at the ingredients. Sugar, salt, garlic granules, dried chilies, dried red pepper, paprika, acid, which is citric acid, the flavorings and the others. When you look at labels, the first thing that is written in the list of labels shows that that is the biggest or that is the highest quantity of ingredient that has been used. And this is a spice that you can use in your stews. They've written sweet and spicy seasoning. It's there, but they've added garlic. So look at the sugar. Per 100 gram is 27.5 grams of sugar. That is in my spice alone. Let's look at the chicken seasoning. That one, the first one is salt, paprika, and all the dried onions. And look at the sugars. This one is 2.7. The carbohydrate is 6.0. The protein is 4.1. Look at the salt, 72 grams, which is a lot. And you add these spices to your food and you include extra salt as well, thinking that this weight here is just spice. So I need to add salt to my meal. This increases your salt intake. So please, let's try read labels. Don't just take things like that because they are saying it's natural spice. As soon as they write natural spice, know that it's a marketing or a branding gimmick that they want to attract you to the product. Now, this is a tomato paste. Let's look at the sugar in the tomato paste, 3 grams per half cup. They say includes 0 added sugars, but when you calculate the sugar in it, it's 3 grams. The fiber content, they've taken most of the fiber out, so it's less than 1. Okay. Sorry. Now, this is also another paste. I'll try and increase it, and the sugars is 3.8 grams, all in our tomato paste. And some of the tomato paste that we use, I won't mention any brand, but there are some that have up to 13 grams of sugars, the ones in the market. So if it is possible to reduce these processed foods and be conscious of reading food labels when we are buying healthy, so-called healthy stuff, let's be conscious, because we are using our own money. Complex carbohydrates are lower in calories than refined carbohydrates. So complex carbohydrates are carbohydrates that still have their fiber attached to it. So if I'm eating in chachra, it has no fiber, or most of the fiber has been taken out. So I would say it's a refined carbohydrate. If I'm preparing my soup and I see my vegetables that I've blended, then that soup is a refined soup, because all the fiber, or most of the fiber, has been taken off. White rice gives refined carbohydrate, whilst brown rice will give complex carbohydrates. Now, let's look at the levels of calories, that is the energy, protein, and carbohydrates in brown rice and white rice. Brown rice contains 218 kilocal of energy. The protein is 4.5. That is all of them per 100 grams. Then the carbohydrate is 45.8. Now, let's look at the white rice. You realize that the calories in white rice are more than that of the brown rice. And the protein in the brown rice is higher than the white rice. Now, so this one, it's agrees with the myth or the saying that complex carbohydrates are lower in calories compared to refined carbohydrates. Now let's take another one, the white bread versus whole wheat bread. In terms of calories, white bread contains 67 kilocal, that is per slice, and that slice is 25 grams. The protein is 1 gram and the carbohydrate is 13. Look at the whole grain or the whole wheat bread. That one, the quantity is 33 grams. Look at the calorie, it's 92. The protein is higher and the carbohydrate is higher. So you realize that although it is whole wheat compared to the white, the calorie in it is higher than that of the white bread. So it is not always the case that you find a complex carbohydrate having a lower calorie compared to a refined carbohydrate. It's the body appreciates everything on your plate, not just that one thing. And I described the glycemic index and the glycemic load. So the body is not just looking at the bread that you are using. What are you adding to the bread? What makes it complete? The last myth I'm going to talk about is microwave cooking destroys nutrients and can cause cancer. Is this a myth, or it has been scientifically proven? It's a study done showed that, in fact, many studies have been done on this, showed that especially foods like potato and some vegetables, when you heat them, and I know most people, they don't use microwave like Ghanaians. We use it just for heating. Others, they cook in the microwave. So it is known to increase levels of a chemical called acrylamide, which is a chemical used primarily to make substances called polyacrylamide and acrylamide copolymers. These are known to be used in many industrial processes, such as production of paper, dyes, and plastics. They've also been shown to be used in the treatment of drinking water and wastewater, including sewage. This chemical is found in some foods naturally and can be produced when vegetables that contain amino acid called asparagine, and such as these amino acids are in potassium. If they are in potatoes, if they are heated at high temperatures in the presence of certain sugars, they can be, this acrylamide will be introduced or produced. It is also a component of tobacco smoke. The major food choice or sources of acrylamide is French fries, potato chips, crackers, bread, cookies, breakfast cereals, canned black olives and prunes, and coffee. So those of us who mix our coffee, put it in the microwave and heat it, it's been shown that heating it in the microwave can increase the levels of acrylamide. But what about those who just heat their meal? It's not a French fries or maybe contomere stew or soup, and heating it at maybe 2 minutes or 1.5 minutes or maximum 3-4 minutes. It's not like cooking in it. So that one, the levels have not been shown to be increased in such circumstances. So we have to try to either avoid using the microwave to cook it. You can cook it on the stove instead of using the microwave. Okay, thank you very much. These are my references, and I think we will start asking questions, and so that the discussions will continue. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Auntie Efua. We are so much well educated. We've been well educated today. I don't know, but I feel that today a lot of myths and a lot of fat diets have been erased from our memories, and we have now come to realize the truth when it comes to nutrition. I hope from now onwards we wouldn't say yes, say yes, say, but we will know what the science is, and we will be able to make well-informed choices. So I will start reading out the questions. So please, you can keep sending your questions and we will surely attend to them. So answer for please, I will read them, then you answer.
Okay, please.
Okay. So the first question says, does consuming sugar increase food cravings, especially for more carbohydrates? And is it advisable to quit eating sugar? Please, did you get the question?
Yes, I did.
Yes,
Some people, after taking sugar, what happens is the digestion and absorption is fast. So they get hungry soon. And it depends on, this is the added sugar you are talking about. But if I'm talking about a whole meal, I've added sugar to my porridge. I'm adding some vegetables. I have my wheat bread. When I'm done, I'll add a fruit to it. This is a whole thing that the body is going to work with. So you won't get hungry as fast as if you are drinking maybe a soda, or you are drinking only cocoa. I won't mention any brand, cocoa, and some people even add sugar to it as well. If that is what you are doing, then you get hungry very soon. But if the meal is balanced and you are adding a cube or a teaspoon to your meal, I don't think that one should increase your craving, because at the other part of the meal will help to give you the satiety that you need.
yeah. And please, the second one is it advisable to quit eating sugar?
Is it advisable
to quit eating sugar, to stop eating sugar?
To stop eating sugar. In fact, it's recommended, but it's not everybody who has the capacity and the willingness to do it. Because after all, if I eat my rice, whether brown rice or white rice, if I take my porridge, my oats, I'm getting my sugar from it, whether I added sugar or not. So the added sugar is more to our tongue sensitivity or sensory to satisfy our tongue, rather than adding any extra benefit in terms of energy that your porridge is not going to give you. So if you can stop, it will be the best. But if you can't, some people are also using the sugar substitutes, which are known to have other adverse effects, especially those who have been diagnosed with diabetes, or those who think that there's diabetes in their family, so they are preventing it, or those who have weight issues and they don't want to quit eating sugar, so they use these substitutes. I mentioned that in the gut we have the microvilli. In the gut also we have some microbes or bacteria that are beneficial to the body. Some are specific to managing diabetes and helping to prevent other gut issues. It is known that when you add these sweetness to your meal, it reduces either the number or the capacity that they have to do the work they need to do. So I think 2 weeks ago, WHO even has come out with a guideline, and it's saying that it's not, artificial sweeteners are not healthy as they thought. They give free chance for others to because aspartame, for instance, it was said to be cancer-forming chemical, so they banned it. But later they took up the ban and allowed people to buy and use. But now it is said that it's known to have impact on the heart and cardiovascular diseases. So we encourage people as much as possible, if you can reduce your sugar intake drastically, do that. If not, just conscientize your mind that I'm not adding that, or once in a while I'll add sugar and the body will be fine. Thank you.
Thank you too. Thank you very much. Please, the next question is basmati rice good for weight loss?
We classify basmati rice as part of the brown rice. It's a complex rice or carbohydrate rice, which is not absorbed as fast as the white perfumed rice that we know of. But in terms of calorie, if I measure it, the difference won't be that much from the white rice that we know. But it's all about variety. Add a lot of it. If basmati rice is the one you are using, include different sauces and soups to it to help the body get enough from it as it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Someone wants to know, the person said that I learned human body shape and weight is also influenced by genetics. So can a naturally big person lose weight through diet or through slim teas?
Okay, naturally big person. So genes, it's true, we have some genes that are specific to weight gain. So there are some people, no matter what they do, their weight will be high. But there are some people too, it depends on their birth weight. If the weight that your mother gave birth to you was big, we have something we call hyperplasia. So whilst you were young, if you became big, that means the cell numbers were more compared to a child who was born in the normal birth weight. For that child, the number of cells are within normal range. So even if that child grows to be big in later life, it is not because of the number of cells. It's just the same number that has grown big in size. So such a person easily gets to the normal weight because it's just the size. But someone who already has the numbers in place to be big, you can reduce weight, but you can't reduce you can reduce the size, but you can't reduce the numbers. So the person might not get to the size if you are to compare to the one who was born with a normal weight. But we call something healthy obese person. the person's size is big, but when you go into their biochemical data, their eating pattern, their energy level, whatever they are doing, the fat content is not as much as if the person was eating or living anyhow. But you can also get someone who is very slim, who is having all these conditions. So we don't just stand on the weight and make conclusion. Other things have to be measured, like the visceral fat, the skeletal muscle, the body fat. If we have all these in place, then we can make a very good judgment to say that yours can bring some condition or not. And that's what it is. So if you were big naturally, based on your background, adding tea to it maybe will help to maintain your good health, but not really to bring you down as you expect. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, the next question is, do you recommend skimmed milk over full cream milk?
Okay, so with the skimmed milk means a greater amount of the fat has been taken off. So that shows that, and the fat also goes along with calcium and other minerals in the milk. If you are someone who is always taking milk, then I would advise that just do the skimmed milk. It will be good because it's something you take frequently. But if you don't take it that much, and if you take it all the time, then you can take it. But if you don't take milk most of the time, no, I'm telling it. If you take milk all the time, then that means your exposure to it is a lot. So it's better you do the skimmed milk. But if you don't take milk all the time, you are okay taking any whole milk. And I give a funny example. In Ghana, if we open a tin of milk, sometimes you even just punch a hole at one side so that we can control how much milk goes into the tea or porridge of each child. And you realize that with a tin, the whole family is using that tin for their protein source. And that is really enough for about 4 people as a breakfast meal, or to be added to a breakfast meal. So if you are sharing with that number, there is no need going for skimmed milk. Go for whole milk, because the quantity you are using per meal is not enough. But if you will get half a tin of milk in your meal because of where you find yourself, then you better go for the skimmed milk. Then as we are on it, before Afrakuma comes in again, some people also take the non-dairy milk. Non-dairy milk means that it does not have any animal milk. Mostly they base on soya milk. And we know that soya, men can take it, but it's not that healthy for men because of the phytoestrogen level in soya bean. So it is advised that if you take milk all the time, go in for the skimmed milk instead of the non-dairy. And if you don't, just be comfortable eating the ones we are all eating. And that should be okay for you. Once in a while, if you are adding non-dairy, that should be good. But children, if I'm saying this for adult children, should never be given non-dairy because they are growing, they have a lot of needs, and they won't be okay. Their body will not be balanced with using non-dairy as their protein source in their beverages and porridge. Thank you, Afrakuma.
Thank you very much, Auntie Efua. So before I go on with the questions, I want to make an announcement. There will be a walk tomorrow, a health walk tomorrow. Let's try and be packed. And it will start from 5:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. So if you're on campus or anywhere near campus, there will be a walk tomorrow. And you can also visit the wellness center for a dietetic consult on Wednesdays. The dietitian is available on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. And if you also need Auntie Efua's contact, the contact has been sent to the chat page, so you can contact him. So please, I'm moving on to the questions. Our time is fast spent, but we will try and answer as many as we can. Auntie Efua, please, someone wants to know that The person is saying, I eat fruits, but not as part of my meals. Does it matter? I eat fruits, but not as part of my meals. Does it matter?
Okay, thank you very much. Most of the time, because of the spikes that we have in our insulin level, insulin is the hormone that is responsible for controlling our blood sugar. So assuming you've eaten in the morning, the body has digested it and it has absorbed, and with that, your sugar has spiked. Then you eat fruit anyhow. Let's say you eat it in between. Then the fructose, that is the sugar in the fruit, also will spike the blood sugar up again. And you call the insulin to come and bring it down. Lunch, you eat. You spike it up. Mid-morning, you eat. Mid-afternoon, you eat something. You keep spiking it. And with time, you have these spikes, a lot of spikes within the day. And that will further compound your issue to bring about insulin insensitivity. So mostly I encourage people. I know some people are giving information on radios and TVs, whether to eat food before meal or after meal or 2 hours after meal. God has his own way of doing things. For me to get energy from my carbohydrates, I need some nutrients to augment, to help me. And some come from vitamins. So I encourage people to add a serving of their fruit to breakfast and another serving to lunch. And no serving of fruit as supper, because fruit as supper has been shown not to help as a healthy eating option and for weight management and sugar control. So if you are to use it as your dessert with your breakfast and your lunch, that should be okay. And I'm not talking about fruit juices. Fruit juices are concentrated fructose level, even if they are 100%, even if they are. So just have that imagination. You add that to your breakfast and your lunch, and you are good to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Auntie Efua. I told you she's a seasoned dietitian. She has experience. So thank you very much. And the next question is, someone wants to know, what about somebody struggling with underweight issues? What should be their eating habit? Someone struggling with underweight issues, what should be their eating habit? Yeah.
Okay, so with underweight, just like being obese or overweight, mostly you are not conscious of your eating time and what you are eating. So we bring in consistency and regularity in your eating pattern. And mostly people are waiting to be hungry before they eat, but that is not the case. We are eating with time because the body is a machine. It depends on nutrients to work, not at your own convenience, not when you are happy or sad, or not when you have time. The body is working because you are using it all the time as well. So it's best to have regular, consistent time within the day. So breakfast by 6 to 8, you should have eaten because you are not waiting to be hungry. Lunch between 12, 1, supper between 5, 6. If you do that consistently, the body will reset and your weight will come to normal. You won't gain so much and you won't lose again, and the body will be in a state of equilibrium, the weight. So I think just plan your meal well, be consistent. Don't think because you have low weight, it's possible your basal metabolic rate is high. That's the reason. But most of the time with this issue, when you delve into, is either I don't have the appetite for the food, I don't have time, so I grab whatever I can. And most of them too, they are either low in nutrients or some of these junk foods that we keep buying with a lot of salt and bad fat. Thank you.
Thank you too. And some of the questions have been answered, so I'll try and skip those questions. So please, someone wants to know if wheat and oats, which of these two would you recommend for someone who wants to lose weight?
All of them. All of them. You can't do healthy eating by sticking to one or two things. When people preach to you, wait dear, this one is the best, it will please, God did not, as you are a female or a worker at KNUST or wherever you find yourself, I think with your caliber of, we have a lot of lecturers. Sometimes with the same subject area, you have different lecturers because they are all bringing something different to the table. So with the cereals and the grains, we have different types because they have different nutrients. And even if the nutrients are the same, they are in them in different levels. So you shouldn't be stuck to one food. Then it will be boring and this is not sustainable. The maximum I will be near when you will just be determined, I will do it. Please, it's 1 month. After that, all that you say is, all die be die. Let me do what I can. But you make healthy eating very intolerable, very unpleasant. Bring in a lot of variety. Enjoy your meal, and you enjoy whatever you are eating to lose the weight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Some of the questions were addressed during the presentation, but I will still try and repeat those questions. Somebody wants to know your take on the 1 meal a day diet plan.
Okay, so for that one, it's for a period. You should be monitored if you have any condition, but not a diabetic. If you have any condition, you should be monitored to see whether no complications will come on, but it's for a period. Some do up to 7 days, but some also, it's like doing 21 days fasting, 40 days fasting, you break at the end of the day. So it's for a period. This year, I heard horrible ways that some Christians some are fasting, they said 250 days. Some are 72 days fasting. You fast, by the time you realize you've come to the weight that you want, but you have a lot of micronutrient deficiencies, and you go back to God and blame him that he has not healed you. I think he has given us enough knowledge. I was coming to say a common sense, but that one, I'll put it enough knowledge not to do that, because then you create your own problem with your ignorance and go to him to heal you. So any longitudinal fasting will bring about micronutrient deficiencies. Even you eating 3 days, there are deficiencies, let alone eating just 1 meal. And it's not possible that all the nutrients you need will be represented in 1 meal. So it's good that you do it just for a period, break it and go to your normal healthy meals.
Okay. I think we are left with about 3 questions, then we call it a day. So the next question is brown sugar better than white sugar? And how many eggs do you recommend to take a day?
Okay. In terms of calories, they are the same. Brown sugar is just coated white sugar with molasses and other. So it's, I think in calorie wise, they are the same. But the other issue with brown sugar is if you are able to get the authentic one, which is difficult to get because I hear some people just quote it with some colors and place them in the market. So if you get the authentic one, at least its nutrients is a little better than the white sugar. But if you are thinking of reducing calories, so you're avoiding white sugar, please, it's the same. You try to reduce the intake as much as possible. I won't say avoid sugar, but if you can, stop. If you can't, then reduce the quantity. With time, you can eat some meals without sugar and you'll be okay.
Thank you. Please, the next question is, how many eggs do you recommend to take a day?
That depends. If you have some conditions, if you are sedentary, you are not that active, I will give 1 egg a day. But if you are active and healthy with no other chronic condition, maximum 2 eggs a day, more boiled than fried. So I think that is, and it should come along with some vegetables. Even if you are frying, you should be pregnant with lots of maybe cut onions and tomatoes, and there should be some vegetable parts to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Someone wants to know if there is any correlation between snoring and diet.
Yes, it's overweight. It's overweight. When your weight is high, then the fat pushes things that shouldn't be pushed, and that can happen. There are people who also have genuine nasopharyngeal issues. That one, if you go to the ENT, they will solve it. But with the diet, if your weight is high, that is the main thing. So bringing down your weight is able to help. That is if there's no pathology around the nasal cavity. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think this should be our last question for today. Oh, the last but one, sorry. Okay, someone wants to know how we can protect ourselves from the effects of the chemicals that are used to induce the ripening of our fruit and vegetables that we buy from the market. How can we reduce the effect of these chemicals?
I think with the vegetables, what I have heard from some extension officers and agric officers is the main issue is when they spray the chemicals, they are supposed to wait for some days before harvesting. But they tell themselves that if they are to do that, their product or produce will get rotten in the farm. So some people spray it overnight, and in the morning they are harvesting to bring to Kumasi to come and sell. So some will just buy tomatoes and the vegetables and let it lie down. They lay it in a cool, dry place for a number of days before they wash it and keep it in the fridge or freezer. So that's what some people do. Because even if you bring it from the market and you wash it very well, because of the concentration of the chemical on the surface area of the vegetable or the fruit, it's possible you will leave a lot there compared to you waiting for the air, the atmospheric air, to take some out before you do your final washing. So I think that's something we can do. The other thing I do is with fruits like banana, for instance, I rarely buy ripe banana. I go to the market and I buy unripe banana. I put it down for my unripe banana to ripen in my face with my eyes looking on it. So that's what I do. But we are not on an island and no one can do things on their own. The other things that others are also doing, home gardening, for instance, we are being taught to grow some of our vegetables. You can't do all, but at least for contomere, for instance, I don't buy anywhere. And you don't need a lot of space. It can be the 5 kilo bag that you've put soil in and you are growing your carrots and your lettuce and others. So the little that you can do will help go a long way to reduce your exposure to these chemicals. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And somebody wants to know if it's advisable or not to take banana if you are suffering from piles, and any food recommended for somebody who has piles.
So pile is just anything that will reduce your constipation level. So in terms of diet, the 3 things I normally look at is how active are you? Because as you keep walking, there's gravity pulling on your entire system. So whatever is up will come down. So that is one thing in terms of being active, how it can help with reducing or preventing constipation. The other factor we look at is fiber. Eating a lot of fiber-rich foods chewing on your food well so that the food is exposed well for the fiber to do its way. Some people eat high fiber foods, but they don't drink a lot of water. Then you'll still be constipated because the fiber works with the water. So if these three things are in place, you are more active, you are exercising not less than 30 minutes a day for at least 5 times in a week. If you are maybe working at the main administration block and you are up there, put it in your mind, I will never take the lift or the elevator, I will walk the steps. And that can be your exercise. For those of us in Konfanoji, that is I never take the lift. Even if I'm going to D5, I do the staircase. So adding that to it, taking in a lot of fiber-rich food and drinking not less than 3 liters of water a day will help to reduce the constipation. And that will also help to alleviate the piles that you are having. Thank you.
Thank you. So to end our questions for tonight, someone wants to know if Dr. Chinchinga at night is it good or bad? He's going to buy one right now.
Yes, anything at night is your meal should be most of the time during the day, because during the night the body needs enough time to use the food that you have eaten, the nutrient from it, to do its work. But if you still have food in your stomach that the body is yet to digest, then it will also reduce the time that the body will do its renovation whilst you are sleeping. So you wake up with bloatiness, a little drowsy, bodily pains, as if you've never slept. But because you ate late and the body didn't have enough time to reset the body. And I think that should be okay. I think someone has asked the last question. Let me tackle that one and we'll be done. What about the water, sachet water most of us drink? I think a lot of studies have been done in KNUST concerning the sachet water. The way it is kept in the sun, even the bottles, the way it is kept in the sun, that brings a lot of interaction with heat and the plastics and the rubber. So it leaves a lot of chemicals in the plastic, in the water. The other aspect, if you are to open up sachet water and put your hand in the rubber, you realize that there are some slimy, I won't say sticky, it's slimy deposits there. And that's all about the reactions that take place. So some people, they do their own filtration in the house. Some of us, I work with about 2 liters of water with me every day. I filter my water with we have filters in the market. Some people can contact me to direct I don't sell some. It's in the market in Edu. I've used mine for more than 14 years. I've never bought sachet water for the house. And we've never had any waterborne disease. So I think if we drink most of our water in the house from like that, and once in a while we are in town and maybe we don't have water on us and we buy it, that one will not have much impact on us. But remember, we can't do all. Do as much as we can and leave the rest for God. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Auntie Efua. Today has been very insightful. I know we've learned a thing or two and we are going to use it and we will see the results. I told you she's an experienced dietitian. She has been practicing for more than a decade now. So you can see for yourself. Okay. As we are ending, people are still sending in questions. Auntie Efua, please, can you briefly answer this briefly? The person wants to know the reusage of oils and the oxidation. Does it apply to only the vegetable oils or every other oil? Please answer it briefly, then we end.
I think in brief, all the oils. So far as it is oil, the palm oil, the olive oil, all the types of oil, it's the oxidation applies to them all. So olive oil, for instance, we always tell people is not really a good source for frying in. it falls in terms of heat. It responds the same way as red oil, the palm oil. You know, as soon as you put palm oil on fire, it starts burning within some short period. It's the same as olive oil. So it's best that maybe you heat your tomato sauce when it is almost cooked, then you pour the oil on top, so that it's not the usual way that you put the oil, it heat up, you add your onions and it heats up before the others come in. So I think with the oxidation, it applies to all the oils and the fats that we have. And I wanted this to be short, but the fat I wanted to talk about, it includes the butters and the margarine. Margarine is the worst because it's hydrogenated fat, and it includes a lot of trans fat, which I mentioned that is bad for your health. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Auntie Efua. On behalf of the KNUST Wellness Centre, we want to appreciate you very much for your time, for preparing to come and educate us. Thank you very much. And please, we are being reminded of our health walk tomorrow on KNUST campus. We will start at 5:30 a.m. So if you're around KNUST campus, please make it a date and join us. And the dietitian at the Wellness Center is available every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Now, presenter for today was Auntie Efua. This is Owusu Ansah. I call her Auntie Efua. She's a dietitian at the Teaching Hospital. Her details have been sent to the chat page, and I'm sending it right now, so you can contact her for any advice. Thank you very much, and we apologize for the time. Please make it a date with us next week. Our meeting next month's time with the dietitian will be on the 30th of June at 6:30 p.m. sharp. Please make it a date and join us. It's every last Friday every month. Please make it a date to join us. Learn something. I hope that whatever we learned today, we are going to implement it, and it will go a long way together. Thank you very much for joining today's discussion. Have a good evening.
The same to you, and thank you.
You're
We are
welcome.
so grateful.
You're welcome. Please do well to join us next month, 30th
Thank
June.
you.
You're welcome.